footage from 1400s from the time of the Black Death was recently discovered in an old English basement. It shows medieval life during the Black Plague. Let's take a look at this remarkable footage. Rare footage from the 1400s from the time of the Black Plague was recently discovered in an old English basement. It shows medieval life during the Black Plague. Let's take a look at this remarkable film.
Got it. Did you have that one pushed?
Welcome to News Channel 1. Hi, I'm Foster Boyle. Fester Boyle. You want to start over? Start that one over again. Welcome to News Channel 1. Hi, I'm Fester O'Boyle.
And I'm Betty Bubonic.
We have been reporting the last 4 days on the Great Mortality. We've also already covered medical responses, religious responses, artistic responses, and the background and geography of the phenomenon people have recently coined the Black Death.
We now go to our field correspondent, Rosie Pops, live in downtown Liverwurst.
Go.
Ready?
Welcome to News Channel 1. Hi, I'm Fester O'Boyle.
And I'm Betty Bubonic.
We have been reporting the last 4 days on the Great Mortality. We have already covered medical responses, religious responses, artistic responses, and the background of geography of the phenomenon people have recently coined the Black Death.
We now go to our field correspondent, Rosie Pops, live in downtown Liverwurst.
Ready.
Thanks, Betty. I'm here in Liverwurst, where the massive death rate has really taken a toll on the way of life for people. The stench is terrible. As you can see, they're piling bodies in the streets.
Taking
and in
pictures of
their
bodies.
homes.
Oh, I didn't get to. Taking pitch them over there. Just start pitching them. Veronica, back up. This isn't going to work. Let me start over real quick.
Thanks, Betty. I'm here in Liverwurst, where the massive death rate is really taking a toll on the way of life for people over here. The stench is terrible.
I didn't get any of that.
What?
Thanks, Betty. I'm here in Liverwurst, where the massive death rate is really taking a toll on the local people. The stench is absolutely terrible. Thanks, Betty. I'm here in downtown Liverwurst, where the death toll is really taking its toll on the... Start over. Betty, I'm here in downtown Liverwurst, where the death rate is really taking a toll on the local people. The stench is horrible.
Okay, that's better.
Back to you, Fester.
How are they getting rid of all those bodies, Rosie? How are they getting rid of all those bodies, Rosie?
Okay.
As you can see, bodies are being piled up due to the massive number of deaths. As we reported last week, bodies were just being thrown into the river. However, the smell of the water supply made local residents believe that was a bad idea. They are now being burned by the bank. Later this afternoon, the funeral for peoples with last names beginning A through L will be over by the riverbank with all the charred remains.
Rosie, how efficient. Wow, Fester, that's much better than the large piles they've been doing on the edge of town.
Yes, Betty. Well, it was getting closer and closer to the country homes that reached far beyond the town. For some reason, the residents out there weren't very happy with that.
That's right, Fester. The death rate in the country has not been as high as here in the city, and people living out there have been very leery of outsiders.
And what about people living in the rich section of town, including the castles? Our field agent, Rosie, is now out there trying to find someone alive to interview. Rosie?
Thanks, Fester. The death rate seems to be just as high out here as it is on the other side of town. The bodies are better dressed, but they're still piling up. The horrible stench is still in the air, and people are still dying in their homes and on the streets. We may have found a source of the plague, as I just heard that the king thinks that they may have been caused by Jews. So now they're dying and the king is killing them. Local children, many that have been abandoned or orphaned, are singing in the streets.
Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
Whoa!
Oh.
Local children, many that have been abandoned or orphaned, are singing in the streets.
Ring around the rosy.
Pocket full of posies. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
Oh my!
Back to you, Betty and Fester.
Ah, my hand hurts. This table is turning like that.
It took 400 years before Europe's population equaled pre-Black Death numbers. The demand for agricultural workers gave survivors a new beginning power, a bargaining power where they could demand higher wages for their services. Classes were broken down and interclass marriage became common. Learning was not just for the clergy anymore. Scholars began to search beyond the tradition of the church and looked elsewhere. One tiny little flea toppled feudalism and changed the course of Europe's history. It took 400 years before Europe's population equaled pre-Black Death numbers. The demand for agricultural before Europe's population.
No, I'm talking about start at the beginning of the whole program.